There's been a lot of confusion over the last few days about the triple lock. So what I'm going to do today, folks, is explain it to you in very, very simple terms so everybody understands exactly what the triple lock means and what the government are trying to do. So this, over the next couple of years, could affect every Irish family. But it's been overcomplicated by the government, so the people won't ask questions. This is what they call the triple lock. And it's what stops Irish troops from being sent into foreign wars that have nothing to do with us. Now, the government says it's outdated, that it stops us from making our own decisions. But let me explain in plain English what it actually does and why it must be protected. So, what is the triple lock? The triple lock is a rule that says Irish troops can only be sent overseas if three things happen. Number one, that the government agrees to send them. Number two, that the Dáil votes in favour of this action. So that means the majority of the Dáil has to vote in favour of this. And number three, and this is the one where they're trying to confuse, but I'll simplify this in a few minutes. Number three, that the United Nations approves the mission. Now, the third step, the UN approval, is what stops Ireland from being dragged into wars started by bigger countries. How can a veto block Irish troops? The UN Security Council, which includes America, Britain, France, Russia, and China, can veto a mission. This means if any of them say no, Ireland cannot send troops even if our government and Dáil approves it. Now, some people say this is a bad thing, but ask yourself, do we want Russia, America, or any of the bigger powers deciding where Irish troops go? If they're fighting for their own reasons, should Ireland be forced to join them? I don't think so. Now, how can the General Assembly override a veto? What the government won't tell you is that the veto doesn't always stop a mission. If a mission is blocked by the Security Council, the UN General Assembly can vote on it instead. So, if the majority of countries in the UN agree, Ireland can still take part, so as long as our government and the Dáil say yes. So, here's the simple truth. If the UN Security Council vetoes a mission, it can still be approved in the General Assembly. Ireland still has the final say through our government and the Dáil. This system protects us from being ordered into war by a bigger power. Now, why does the government want this to change? The government is trying to remove the UN rule. They say the triple lock stops Ireland from helping when we are needed. But what they don't tell you is that without this rule, Ireland could be sent into a battle zone just because the EU or NATO want us there. If we get rid of this safeguard, Irish troops could be sent to a war that have nothing to do with us. Two, we could end up in conflicts just to please bigger military alliances. And in the years to come, if recruitment is low, they could bring in conscription to fill the gaps. Don't let them confuse you. Check the facts. Don't take my word for it. You can go on Google and check this all out yourself. The government hopes that by making this sound too complicated, you'll switch off and not question them. But now I hope in what I've just said that you understand. You don't need a degree in politics to see what's happening. So if you want to check for yourself, look up Ireland's defence policy and the triple lock. Read about the UN Uniting for Peace rule. It's real and it means a Security Council veto doesn't always block Irish troops. So the next time a politician tells you this is too complicated, remind them it's not complex at all. If we remove the UN safeguard, Ireland can be sent to war at the request of NATO or the EU. If this happens in 10 or 20 years, who's to say we won't see conscription introduced? We've kept our neutrality for over 100 years. Don't let them take it away now. And remember this when you vote in the next election.